Margaret thought she was doing everything right. At 68, she prided herself on eating well, staying active during the day, and maintaining her independence. But every night the same pattern repeated itself. She'd finish dinner around 6, settle into her favorite armchair with a cup of coffee and her evening shows, then spend the next few hours battling heartburn, restless legs, and that heavy, uncomfortable feeling in her stomach. When morning came, she'd wake up groggy, stiff, and wondering why her body felt like it had been through a battle during the night. Her doctor kept telling her it was just part of aging, but deep down, Margaret knew something wasn't right. She was doing things that seemed harmless, even healthy, but were actually sabotaging her sleep, her digestion, and her overall well-being. What Margaret didn't realize was that after 65, our bodies process food, handle stress, and regulate sleep very differently than they did in our younger years. The habits that once seemed perfectly normal can now become silent enemies, slowly chipping away at our health, our energy, and our quality of life. Today, I'm going to reveal the 4 seemingly innocent after-dinner habits that are causing more harm than you might imagine for seniors over 65. These aren't dramatic lifestyle changes or obvious mistakes. They're subtle, everyday choices that millions of older adults make without realizing the profound impact they're having on their bodies. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why these habits are so dangerous after 65, what they're really doing to your body, and most importantly, what you can do instead to feel stronger, sleep better, and wake up refreshed. The 4th habit might surprise you because it's something almost everyone considers healthy, but for seniors, it can be particularly damaging. Before we dive in, I'd love to know where you're watching from today. Drop a comment below and tell me if you recognize any of these habits in your own evening routine. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss health tips that can truly transform how you feel every single day. Habit number 1, drinking coffee or caffeinated beverages. Let me tell you about Robert, a 72-year-old retired engineer who loved his evening routine. After dinner, he'd pour himself a fresh cup of coffee and sit down to work on his crossword puzzles. It seemed harmless enough. He'd been doing it for years, and he genuinely enjoyed that warm, comforting ritual. But Robert started noticing something troubling. Even though he felt tired by bedtime, his mind would race when he tried to sleep. He'd lie awake for hours, his heart beating a little faster than normal, his thoughts jumping from one worry to another. When he finally did fall asleep, it was restless and shallow. He'd wake up multiple times during the night and feel exhausted the next morning. What Robert didn't understand was that after 65, our bodies process caffeine completely differently than they did when we were younger. The liver enzymes responsible for breaking down caffeine become less efficient with age. While a 30-year-old might metabolize caffeine in 4 to 6 hours, someone over 65 can take 8 to 12 hours or even longer. This means that coffee consumed at 6 in the evening might still be actively affecting your system well past midnight. But it's not just about staying awake. Caffeine affects seniors in ways that go far beyond simple alertness. First, it interferes with deep sleep stages. Even if you manage to fall asleep after evening caffeine, you're likely missing out on the restorative deep sleep that your body desperately needs for muscle repair, memory consolidation, and cellular regeneration. This deep sleep becomes even more crucial as we age because it's when our bodies produce growth hormone, repair damaged tissues, and clear waste products from the brain. Second, caffeine can worsen age-related anxiety and restlessness. Many seniors experience increased anxiety as they age, often related to health concerns, financial worries, or changes in their life circumstances. Caffeine amplifies these feelings, making that quiet evening worry spiral into something much more intense and difficult to manage. Third, evening caffeine can disrupt your natural circadian rhythm. As we age, our internal clocks become more fragile and easier to throw off balance. Regular evening caffeine consumption can shift your entire sleep-wake cycle, making it harder to feel sleepy at night and alert during the day. But perhaps most importantly, caffeine can interfere with medications that many seniors take. Blood pressure medications, heart medications, and even some antidepressants can interact with caffeine in ways that amplify its effects or reduce the medication's effectiveness. The solution isn't necessarily to eliminate caffeine entirely. Instead, create a caffeine cutoff time. For most seniors, avoiding all caffeinated beverages after 2 p.m. gives the body enough time to process the caffeine before bedtime. If you crave that warm, comforting ritual after dinner, try herbal teas like chamomile, passion flower, or decaffeinated versions of your favorite drinks. Remember, this isn't about depriving yourself of pleasure. It's about understanding how your body has changed and adapting your habits to support your health and well-being. Habit number 2, eating large, heavy meals or snacking continuously. Eleanor always considered herself a light eater. At 71, she rarely felt very hungry during the day, often just picking at breakfast and having a small lunch. But by evening, her appetite would return with a vengeance. She'd prepare elaborate dinners with multiple courses, savoring every bite as she caught up on the calories she'd missed earlier in the day. After dinner, she'd often continue snacking throughout the evening. A handful of nuts while watching television, some fruit before bed, maybe a small bowl of ice cream as a treat. It seemed reasonable to her. She was finally eating when her body wanted food, and she wasn't overeating by any reasonable standard. But Eleanor began experiencing problems that seemed unrelated to her eating habits. She developed persistent heartburn that over-the-counter medications couldn't quite control. Her sleep became fragmented, and she'd often wake up feeling nauseous or with an uncomfortably full stomach. Her legs would swell by bedtime, and she'd feel sluggish and foggy-headed the next morning. What Eleanor didn't realize was that eating patterns that work fine for younger people can become problematic after 65 due to significant changes in digestive function, metabolism, and circulation. As we age, our digestive system slows down considerably. The production of stomach acid decreases, digestive enzymes become less efficient, and the muscles that move food through our digestive tract weaken. This means that large meals or continuous snacking in the evening can overwhelm an already compromised system. When you eat a heavy meal after 65, your body has to divert significant energy and blood flow to digestion. This can cause several problems. First, it can lead to gastroesophageal reflux, where stomach acid backs up into the esophagus, causing heartburn and potentially damaging the delicate tissues of the throat and esophagus over time. Second, lying down soon after eating can worsen this reflux and make digestion even more difficult. The food sits heavily in your stomach, and gravity can't help move it through your system as efficiently. Third, continuous evening snacking keeps your digestive system working when it should be resting and repairing itself. Just like the rest of your body, your digestive organs need downtime to recover and maintain themselves. But there's another crucial factor that many people don't consider: the impact on circulation and heart health. When you eat a large meal, your body needs to increase blood flow to your digestive organs. For seniors who may already have compromised circulation or heart function, this additional demand can strain the cardiovascular system and contribute to swelling in the legs and feet. Moreover, eating large amounts of food in the evening can cause blood sugar spikes that are particularly problematic for older adults. Even if you don't have diabetes, age-related changes in insulin sensitivity mean that your body doesn't handle these spikes as well as it once did. This can lead to energy crashes, mood swings, and poor sleep quality. The solution is to shift your eating pattern to align better with your body's changing needs. Try to make lunch your largest meal of the day when your digestive fire is strongest. Keep dinner lighter and finish eating at least 3 hours before bedtime. If you feel hungry in the evening, choose easily digestible options like a small portion of yogurt with berries or a handful of almonds. Remember, your body's wisdom changes with age. What felt right at 45 might not serve you well at 65. Listening to these new signals and adjusting accordingly isn't giving in to aging, it's honoring the incredible journey your body has taken and supporting it in this new phase of life. Habit number 3, immediately lying down or sitting still. After every dinner, James had the same routine. The 69-year-old would finish his meal, rinse his plate, and immediately settle into his recliner to watch the evening news. He'd often joke that he'd earned the right to relax after a lifetime of hard work. Within minutes of sitting down, he'd feel drowsy and comfortable, sometimes even dozing off right there in his chair. This seemed like a perfectly reasonable way to wind down after a meal. He wasn't being lazy, he was simply giving his body time to rest and digest. But James started experiencing problems that gradually got worse over time. He'd wake up from his post-dinner naps feeling more tired than before, often with a stiff neck and back pain. His heartburn became a nightly occurrence, and he'd frequently feel bloated and uncomfortable for hours after eating. Worse yet, when bedtime actually arrived, he'd find himself wide awake, staring at the ceiling for hours. His sleep cycle had become completely disrupted, and he'd wake up the next morning feeling like he'd never really rested at all. What James didn't understand was that immediately becoming sedentary after eating creates a cascade of problems that become more serious with age. When we're younger, our bodies can compensate for less than ideal habits, but after 65, these compensatory mechanisms become less effective. First, let's talk about what happens to digestion when you immediately lie down or remain completely still after eating. Gravity plays a crucial role in moving food through your digestive system. When you're upright and moving, even gently, gravity helps food progress from your stomach to your small intestine and beyond. When you immediately become horizontal or completely sedentary, this natural assistance disappears. For seniors whose digestive muscles are already weaker and less coordinated, this can lead to food sitting heavily in the stomach for much longer than it should. This delayed gastric emptying can cause uncomfortable bloating, increased risk of acid reflux, and poor nutrient absorption. But the problems go beyond digestion. When you remain still after eating, your blood sugar rises more dramatically and stays elevated longer than it would if you engaged in gentle movement. This is particularly problematic for seniors because age-related changes in insulin sensitivity mean that blood sugar regulation is already more challenging. Additionally, remaining sedentary immediately after eating can worsen circulation problems that many seniors already face. Blood tends to pool in the lower extremities, contributing to swelling and discomfort. The heart has to work harder to pump blood against gravity without the assistance of muscle contractions that come with movement. There's also the issue of sleep disruption. When you doze off immediately after eating, especially if you're reclining, you're likely to experience poor quality sleep. Your body is busy digesting, your blood sugar may be elevated, and you're not in an optimal position for deep, restorative rest. This can throw off your entire sleep cycle, making it harder to fall asleep at your regular bedtime and leading to that groggy, unrefreshed feeling the next day. The solution is beautifully simple: gentle movement after meals. This doesn't mean vigorous exercise or anything strenuous. A slow 10-minute walk around your home or neighborhood, some light stretching, or even just standing and doing gentle movements while watching television can make a tremendous difference. This gentle movement helps stimulate digestion, improves blood sugar control, enhances circulation, and actually helps you feel more relaxed and ready for quality sleep when bedtime arrives. Think of it as a gift to your body, a way of helping all your systems work together harmoniously. Many seniors find that this becomes one of their favorite parts of the day. It's a peaceful transition between the activity of eating and the rest of the evening, a moment to connect with their body and perhaps reflect on the day. Habit number 4. watching stimulating or stressful content. This last habit might surprise you because it's something that millions of people, especially seniors, do every single evening without thinking twice about it. In fact, many consider it a healthy way to stay informed and engaged with the world. Let me tell you about Dorothy, a sharp 74-year-old who prided herself on staying current with world events. Every evening after dinner, she'd settle in with her tablet or in front of the television to catch up on the day's news. She'd watch multiple news programs, scroll through social media, and sometimes spend hours reading articles about politics, crime, health scares, and economic troubles. Dorothy felt it was important to be an informed citizen, and she genuinely found some of the content interesting. But she started noticing that these evening information sessions left her feeling agitated and anxious. Her mind would race with worries about things she couldn't control. She'd lie awake at night, thinking about troubling news stories or feeling overwhelmed by the state of the world. What's particularly insidious about this habit is that it doesn't feel harmful in the moment. Unlike eating a heavy meal or drinking coffee, consuming stressful content doesn't create immediate physical discomfort. But the cumulative effect on sleep, stress levels, and overall well-being can be profound, especially for seniors. As we age, our nervous systems become more sensitive to stress and less resilient in recovering from it. The same news story that might temporarily upset a 40-year-old can have a much more lasting impact on someone over 65. This isn't a sign of weakness or oversensitivity. It's a normal part of how our neurological and hormonal systems change with age. When you consume stressful or emotionally charged content in the evening, several things happen in your body. Your cortisol levels, which should naturally be decreasing as bedtime approaches, instead spike or remain elevated. This stress hormone interferes with the production of melatonin, your body's natural sleep hormone, making it much harder to fall asleep and achieve deep, restorative rest. Additionally, your sympathetic nervous system, the part responsible for your fight-or-flight response, becomes activated when you're exposed to troubling information. This system is designed to help you respond to immediate physical threats, but it doesn't distinguish between a real danger and a news story about distant problems. Your heart rate may increase, your breathing may become shallow, and your muscles may tense up, all of which are counterproductive to the relaxation you need for good sleep. For seniors, who may already be dealing with health concerns, financial worries, or family stress, consuming additional anxiety-provoking content in the evening can push their stress levels beyond what their bodies can easily handle. This chronic elevation of stress hormones has been linked to weakened immune function, increased inflammation, higher blood pressure, and even accelerated cognitive decline. There's also the issue of rumination. Seniors often have more time to think and worry than they did during their busier working years. Consuming upsetting content right before bed gives the mind hours to turn these concerns over and over, creating a cycle of anxiety that can persist well into the night and even into the next day. But this doesn't mean you need to become uninformed or disconnected from the world. The key is timing and intentional consumption. Consider creating a news cutoff time, perhaps immediately after lunch or early afternoon. This gives you time to process and mentally digest any troubling information before evening approaches. Instead of ending your day with stressful content, try transitioning to more peaceful activities after dinner. This might include reading uplifting books, listening to calming music, watching nature documentaries, or engaging with content that brings you joy rather than anxiety. Some seniors find it helpful to practice what's called emotional hygiene in the evening, just as you practice physical hygiene. This might involve gentle stretching, meditation, gratitude practices, or simply sitting quietly and allowing your mind to settle after the day's activities. Remember, staying informed is important, but protecting your mental and physical health is even more crucial. You can be a thoughtful, engaged person without sacrificing your peace of mind and sleep quality. It's about finding the balance that supports both your desire to remain connected with the world and your body's need for rest and restoration. Moving forward, creating your new evening routine. Now that we've explored these 4 habits and why they become problematic after 65, you might be wondering how to restructure your evening routine for better health and more restful sleep. The good news is that small, consistent changes can make a dramatic difference in how you feel. Start by looking at your current routine and identifying which of these habits might be affecting you. You don't need to change everything at once. Pick one habit to modify first, spend a week or 2 establishing a new pattern, then move on to the next change. If caffeine is your challenge, begin by moving your cutoff time earlier by just 1 hour. Instead of coffee at 7 p.m., try stopping at 6 p.m. for a week, then 5 p.m. the following week, until you find the timing that allows for restful sleep. If you're struggling with large evening meals or continuous snacking, try eating your larger meal at lunch and keeping dinner lighter. Focus on easily digestible proteins, steamed vegetables, and smaller portions. Stop eating at least 3 hours before your intended bedtime. For the habit of immediately becoming sedentary after meals, start with just 5 minutes of gentle movement. Walk slowly around your home, do some light stretching, or simply stand and sway gently while listening to music. Gradually increase this to 10 or 15 minutes as it becomes more comfortable. And if evening news consumption is leaving you feeling anxious and restless, experiment with different types of content in the hours before bed. Try audiobooks, gentle documentaries about nature or history, or calming music instead of news and social media. Remember, these changes aren't about adding more rules or restrictions to your life. They're about understanding how your wonderful body has changed over the years and adapting your habits to support optimal health and well-being. You've earned the right to feel good in your body, to sleep peacefully, and to wake up refreshed and energized for each new day. Your body has carried you through decades of life, through challenges and celebrations, through all the moments that have shaped who you are today. It deserves care, attention, and habits that honor the remarkable journey it has taken. These simple evening adjustments are a way of saying thank you to your body and investing in many more years of vitality and well-being. What evening habit do you think might be affecting your sleep and energy levels? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment and love hearing about your experiences and questions. And if you found this information helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe for more practical health tips designed specifically for the unique needs of seniors. Until next time, here's to peaceful evenings and restful nights.